What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we have a London accent from the 14th to the 21st century. God, we going all the way back to the 1300s. Let's do it. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to smash subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and if you like to support this channel by becoming a member, all you gotta do is hit that join button to receive your exclusive benefits. Let's dive in.
Hello. If you want to skip ahead, I've put a time on screen, but if not, I'll clarify before we start if you haven't seen these videos before. I'm not a linguist, I'm just an archaeology student with access to university library who's very interested in these kinds of things. Until next time, Merry Christmas, and I hope you enjoy this little video.
1346. When he was younger, I tell you a tale from about
Oh, Lord.
springtide of when he was full well young. My father was ever clad in old wool from the shape he had of when they was young. And full ready and never to fall apart, dusty shape and modern name. And the wool was teeth about him. And we said on day, Father, your wool hath moths. Had moths in the arms, had moths in the shoulders, had moths in the elbows, and not the wool alone. Your hair had moths, your head had them. He was 20 some son, he was no child then. My father then sat up and said, if that they have moths, then to have moths is to bane myself. And ik nou not to tell to have me bane, if not myself. So we told him anything more about the moths. After that, I had no plan. 1406.
That was a difficult one to understand. I understood maybe about 1/4 of what he said, maybe about 1/4. That was that was a thick accent. 1346. I probably wouldn't have been able to talk to too many people. All right, let's jump to 1406. See how it done changed.
He had a ground seer when he was the age. He had a ground seer sat with me in our house. It was a few stones from
Clue.
here on the horseback going south. Do you remember?
South. Going on horseback, going south, not south. South. Going south. That's bro. It's crazy how like accents, pronunciations, and everything change so much over time.
And that went over to this house. This house was the Reva's hair, not
This
the Reva we have now.
This house.
It was his ground seers. He lived not in it, but he had it as his own for us to live in. And our kind. Nobody had lived in it for years. Think of all the cobwebs around, all the hawks had cobwebs around them. You could not hang your hat on the hawks, or you'll find a spider with a home in your hat. We had the report on well, and the wattle was all rotten. In a dog, it should never be rotten, but it was all. Me thinking about it, it was woven and left out somewhere for 5 years, and then they made the house out of it. For it was all shot with woodworm. Think of a woodworm graving through daub. It was shot with it. That must have been in it when it was in dauben. So it was never well made, that house. And it leaned down, we had to tear them down 2 of the walls and put them back up. If you talk down that wall, that's a wall from before. If you talk that down, you'll find it was still shut.
1466.
It's insane, bro. How literally you scratching your head like. If y'all understand what they're saying, please talk to me in the comment section. I want to understand. I want to know how much you guys could actually understand the accents 1346, 1406. Like, tell me all the accents that this goes through that you could like actually fully understand, bro. I'm getting lost. I'm getting lost. I ain't gonna lie to y'all.
We still had a Christmas Day long before
Die.
tear.
We still had a Christmas die. That's
Great deal of it was the same as it is now. So we had logs in the fire. The fire pit wasn't in the middle of the room when he was young. It was off the own side, off over there. In the house I lived in as a boy, my grandsire one day, he put a pair of logs on and our neighbour knocked on the door.
knocked. That's
So
crazy. It's crazy that there was once upon a time where they were actually saying the K in these words that are now silent, but they were saying knocked, connect.
my grandsire goes to the door and opens it up, and it lets this ungodly draft in, for it's
Oh,
snowing ice cold out there, and it's our neighbour called Thomas, and he said my dog had run off. And they come past here, and my grandsire then said, no, I've not seen him, not in the house. And my neighbour said, my grandson said, he ran past there. So I went off into the night and came back and knocked again, and my grandsire opened the door. Said, look, John, I'm sorry, my horse had run away. Had they come past here? My grandsire said, no, not come past here. And the next time we saw our neighbour, we were doing the cows the next morning, and they was far off, and they came over. They said, I'm sorry about the confusion. I found the horse, he was spooked, and he hadn't been well tied up. So he ran off into the woods. And my grandsire said, did you find your dog? And they said, that was my grandson. He thought he said the dog had run over there, but he meant to say the dog was run over there.
the dog
So on
was
the
run.
way past, when it was spooked, the horse had run over the dog and killed
Oh,
it.
that
1526.
was a lot better. That was as it continues to go now. I understood maybe like three-fourths of that one. So that was a lot better in me being able to actually comprehend their pronunciations of these words. Let's go to 1526. We jumping into the 16th century.
6.
I lived further out when I was younger,
Mm.
and over near the Thames, and we lived in the middle of nowhere,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw all sorts there. I snared rabbits to sell down the market, so I
Okay.
never put my knife in anything bigger than a rabbit till I was 20. Father insisted
Dang.
on doing all the slaughtering, but he once came down to me snare. I know the spot they ran through. I
No,
put a
still.
snare in his hedge. He once came down to it all morning and found there was a weasel in there, still
Mm-mm.
alive. And weasels are vicious things. So I got the biggest, greatest, longest stick I could find and knocked it over the head and
Oh,
untied it and threw it in some brambles.
1586.
that wasn't bad. That was, again, I feel like we're still getting better progressively, slowly, but surely. We're continuing the improvement route.
We cut a tree down and we dragged this log down from the forest. We did it ourselves on boards, for our horses were both not well good and we hadn't any oxen. So we dragged this log ourselves, for we couldn't afford a horse to fall down.
Oh.
There's Preventure, 12 of us out there, dragging this great big log down, I don't know how far, with ice and cold hands, for it was winter, and
Ooh.
winters were colder then. And this is a
Hell.
great big log. We cut these great slats out of it and set fires in the slats. And we had this great log slowly burning away for days, and that was it. Every year we hardly went inside around Christmas. We did our work and came back to the log. And by the time January came around, we went back inside and it was musty and dreary and you couldn't move for the rats that had moved in.
That was,
1646.
I understood, but at the same time, I still feel like I struggled a bit. So understood more than the beginning, but still struggling.
We didn't ever have geese as fat as this to eat. When I was little, we had little lank geese. We had a Preventure 8 that we kept around Christmas to sell everyone round there. Or not round there, because when I was little, we lived across the Thames. We sold to 5 families, but they were little ropey things. And we had a
Hmm.
few more decorations back then. We had a little etching of Mother Mary that we put at the end of those. And we had a crucifix, Jesus on the cross. And we put that on our big oak table, leaning against that. They're talking about no Christmas
Talking.
now
Oh,
altogether.
1706.
I was
When I
okay.
was younger, much younger
Oh,
before you were born, when your father was only just born,
this
there,
is a lot better, bro. This is very, very easy to understand. Clear, very clear in the pronunciations of these. Or now, this is what I'm talking about. Now I'm locked in. I can understand every word.
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't mind it. A bakery in London, the handmaid had left an old rag by the fire, and a cloth catched fire, and the floorboards catched it off the cloth,
Oh,
and the
oh,
flour bags catched it off the
floorboards.
floorboards. And if you have fire around flour, it sets off burning. And the bakery was burned to the ground, and the
Oh,
butcher's was burned to the ground, and the greengrocer's was burned to the ground.
damn.
And this was in the middle of London. And if you climbed up on the roof, you could see it from here. The flames would have been 100 yards high, and it was windy,
100
blowing wind, and you could
yards?
see the fire bright across the sky. And where we are here, the wind was blowing the fire right towards us, so you couldn't see the sun. And there was a shadow cast from all the smoke, and if you went outside, it stunk horribly because everything in London was burning, and our clothes went all the wrong colour from the smoke. And they had to knock down buildings just to stop the fire spreading, and if you went outside, you couldn't see a lot of the stars because
Jesus.
there was orange light all night. I said you knew how the three wise men must have felt. And 100 churches came down and the houses between them, and I should think on the first night it took people to their maker. So you must never leave a cloth by the fire,
Yeah.
especially not a butter cloth.
Dang, this
1766.
little cloth by the fire done almost destroyed the whole town. You got flames 100 yards high, bro. The baker's burned down. Everything burning down. But that now 1706, that was my ears picked up everything. Everything was pronounced very clearly compared to all the years before. And so I feel like from now on I should be good. I should be good.
6.
There was an old woman what lived in a hill, and if she's not gone, she's living there still.
Oh.
She sold baked apples and blackberry pies, and she's the old woman what never told lies. Ba ba black
Mm,
sheep, have ye any wool?
mm,
Yes, my old mate, 3 bags full. Own for the master, own for the dame, own for the little boy crying in the lane.
oh.
My father knew a crooked man what went a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence up against a crooked stile. He had a crooked cat what catched a crooked mouse,
Mm.
and they both lived together in his crooked wooden house.
I like these.
1826.
Easy to understand.
I only knew my
Even
granddad
better.
from when I was very, very little. I don't remember him especially well because he died when I was 7.
Oh.
All I remember about him is he was very much like your father. He'd always to be working. He never had a pen in his foot, or he never had no reason to be inside. He was always out making wheels because he was a wheelwright, much like your father, but not much like me because when I was younger, I can say for myself that I always looked for a reason to stay in the house and do something easy. But my granddad could never stay still. All I knew of him is from my mother. She says every Christmas when he got too old to work, and my father took on most of it, he would sit
Feather.
of a Christmas day
It's just the only thing, the only one that's like really like got me is feather. Instead of like father, it's like feather. My feather.
in a corner and read everything he could get his hands on. So he read me pretty songs, but he also read all manner about economics and the wider world, and he knew everything. But the problem with a man like that is that when it comes to the end, you simply can't tell all that to anyone else and expect them to remember it. And short of being rich enough to travel around the world, you are not best placed to do anything with it else. I know everything what I need to know, and I haven't read a word since I was in school. I make a habit of it. Or to put it better, I don't make a habit of it. 1886.
I'll tell you something. When I was younger, I used to go down to the public house every other day.
And now it's starting to sound more like the accents that we hear today. It's starting to sound more like the British, London accent that you may hear today.
Drink with my friends. This was about when the Queen was first crowned, when I was 30 or so. So all sorts was coming round here, coming in pubs, crowds all over. I didn't want to know about it because there was all sorts of Burks out in the street causing havoc. Because most of them never seen a proper street before. Most of them come from middle of piss all nowhere, excuse my expression.
Excuse my expression.
So I made a custom
Piss of nowhere.
of not talking to them. But one day, I seen walking past the public house with her friend, the most wonderful girl what I'd ever seen. She glanced in a public house, and I thought she caught my eye and turned and said something to her friend in her friend's ear.
What you say?
And I don't tell my friends where I'm off to. I run after her and catched her, and she turns around, most radiant girl I'd ever seen, eye to perfection, most beautiful dress to wear for coronation, I should think.
Oh.
And I put on my proud voice, and I said I couldn't help but notice that you caught my eye in a public house back there. And she chuckles and says, mean as anything, I was only telling my sister what a shithouse it looked like.
You had to be that mean. You had to be that savage. That was hurtful. That was rude. That was painful. My day.
1946.
When I was a lot younger, talk about before the war, this was before the war, before the Boer War, quite a long time actually. We had a nice lavish sort of living room, but we didn't have a dining room, so we used to drag the table in the living room to have our Christmas dinner. And it was me, mother, father, my brothers, and it was my granddad while he was still alive. And he used to tell the most blue jokes across the table. And old man used to tell the most blue jokes, sparing no detail, and we'd be laughing, bashing on the table. And one night, on New Year's Eve, I thought I'd tell my own joke. I can't have been more than about 7, and they all looked at me expectantly, and I said, Mother, I can't tell the joke, it's too blue. And she says, no, it's all right, it's New Year's Eve, and we could do with a laugh.
Oh, Lord.
So I said, all right.
Oh, Lord.
I pulled the tablecloth up to my face, ready to hide if she decided she was going to hit me. And I said, what's blue? And she said, I don't know, what's blue? And I said, your face when Grandad says, and then I said a swear word. And she looked at me for a second, not amused, and she says, if you want to get a laugh out of the boys at school, you shall have to do better than that.
Hey, Mama gonna let you know. That's the joke. That's so yeah, that joke, you ain't in trouble, but that joke trash.
2006. We used to be a bit of a carolling family, so we used to go all round the houses on Christmas Eve singing carols, because all but one of us was lucky enough to have Christmas Eve off work. So we went round singing, and when I was about 20, it snowed in some parts of London on Christmas Eve. This was back in the 60s, and it snowed properly too. It wasn't just a thin layer, it was proper snow that your foot crunched right into. And me and my sister never seen anything like it. That's your Aunt Beryl. We'd never seen proper snow before, apart from on the telly. And in pictures, you can sort of tell how hard and crunchy it is from looking at
pictures or looking at the telly, but you can't imagine feeling how cold it is in the palm of your hand and how cold a snowflake is on your hand or your tongue. So we went back to chill. We were like children again. We were running around more energetic than I had been for 5 years or 10 years or whatever in the snow. And you may know what it's like when it snows in the countryside, but you don't know what it's like when it snows in London till it does.
That was a cool video to kind of see exactly how much accents and pronunciations and all that changed over so many years. Yeah, 13th, 14th, and 15th century, I really ain't know what they were saying. Then we started moving on and became more clear and more of the language that I understand and more of the pronunciations that I understand. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. If you enjoyed, don't forget to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, check out the next one, and I'll see you guys next time.